and what's and whys and wherefores. Here you'll find your what-nots and therefores. So come on along, let's find out what's going on. Where's and when's and who's and what's it's. No matter what your taste, you can trust it's the place where you can find all your new Disney news. Where's and when's and who's and what's it's. No matter what you taste, you can trust it's the place where you can find all your new Disney news.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot Podcast, the current events edition as of 3/17/23.
Yay! So glad to be here. I am a little bit under the weather, so I apologize for the quality of my voice and any noises that I shouldn't be making on the recording, but there you go.
Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yay.
And also wanted to let you know that Ken and I are both former Disneyland Custodial cast members, and we talk Disneyland. This is our current events edition. Every other week we also put out our main topic edition of our show, where we talk about various topics. We talk to former cast members, we talk to Imagineers, authors, and more. We talk a lot of history too, so if you like Disneyland history. We also authors of the books Queen the Kingdom. You can get them on Amazon. You can get the second book on our website right now, signed. The website is thesweetspot.com. And you can also get the audiobooks on USB. I think I only have a couple left of those. So if it's something you're really wanting to get, I really advise you do it fast because I think there's only like 3 left. So do that at the websites. The USB drives are audiobook on USB drives. You can take them with you. They have photos and extra things that the regular audiobook that you can get on Audible and iTunes does not have. Also, before we get started, I wanted to mention that I am a concierge travel planner, and I've been doing it for a year now. And if you're looking to book a vacation to Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Disney's Aulani, Adventures by Disney, and Universal Hollywood and Universal Orlando, you can contact me directly now. That's right, Sweet Spot listeners, contact me directly to book your trips, and you can contact me at Barron, that's LBARRON, at concierge.com. That's CONIEARS.com. And if you can't remember all that, you can go to our website, thesweetspot.com, and that information is on our front page there. And yes, feel free to contact me directly, and I will help you. It has no additional cost to you, and you get my services. I will help you with dining and any questions you have, booking your reservations to the parks, any questions you have about Genie Plus, any advice you want of dining. We also reserve dining for you at no cost when you book with me. And yes, just make your trip smoother. So even if you think you know like everything about booking, I'll just book it myself, I know all this. Well, you may not know everything, and also so if you book with the Disney hotel and a promotion comes up, they may not contact you and say, hey, you could save some money. But we look out for those promotions, and we will contact you and let you know, hey, we just saved you some money. Here's a promotion if you want to take advantage of it. And so we're always looking out for you and those things. And we just don't book it and say, have a nice trip. We're with you the whole way. I'll even contact you a few days or a week before, make sure you got everything you need, and then I'll check on you after you come back to make sure everything went smoothly and how it could be improved. Or, I'd like to hear about people and their vacations. So, anyways, contact me directly. I think we need to get right into it. Ken, we have a lot to discuss in our current events tonight.
Yes, we do.
Okay, now let's have the current events. Ken, what do you have for us?
Well, Lynn, there's just been a few things that have been going on in the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we do these every couple of weeks, and so here we are. Disneyland cleans every skull, mummy, and snake in Indiana Jones Adventure refurbishment. And Brady McDonald reported in the Orange County Register that has reopened as of, it's reopened now. So if you're listening to us, it is reopened.
Yeah.
And of course you're listening to us. Why else would you be, hear this information? Okay, the Indiana Jones Adventure attraction will reopen on Friday, March 17th after an extensive renovation by the Disneyland operations and facilities services teams, along with Walt Disney Imagineering. And of course, March 17th is past, so it's open. And as Brady says, I got to ride Indiana Jones Adventure a few times on Thursday, March 16th, before the attraction reopened to the public, and found my favorite Disneyland ride fully restored to its glory days. Mm-hmm. Imagineering plussed up the ride with 2 new digital effects scenes designed to demonstrate the power of Mara, the antagonist deity within the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, at the center of the story unfolding in the attraction. Our additions to Indiana Jones Adventure add touches of new magic and enhance its already established storyline, Imagineering Executive Creative Director Kim Irvine said in a statement released by Disneyland. Mara taunts guests even further with a powerful electric-like energy and frenetic apparitions. This force of Mara turns a possible passageway escape into a rubble of dust. No new storylines were introduced into the Disneyland attraction from the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny film, debuting in theaters in June. Okay, so a couple of things. Those projections, I believe, have replaced the rats. The rat scene, I believe, has been replaced with the flashes, and it makes it look like, I guess it'll have to be experienced to fully understand, but yeah. And the other thing is, the Dial of Destiny is, my guess is they might have installed something, mm-hmm. or maybe they're ready to install something, but they're going to hold off. Because one of the big things about movies now is avoiding spoilers, And so if anything's a potential spoiler, I think they're going to hold off on it until after the movie's out.
Right.
So I'm not sure everything that they've done to it has been, completed. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. The exterior queue has been re-landscaped. The interior queue has been repainted, and the bamboo supports in the queue tunnels have been replaced. Interactive elements in the queue, like the rope in the well that visitors can pull, are working again. A few effects that fans remember from the early days of the attraction are likely never coming back. The rotating trio of doors that determine the fate of riders at the beginning of the attraction still don't shift back and forth like they once did, proving too problematic to be worth the trouble. That just boggles my mind, that.
Yeah.
My guess is they could do it, but they just don't think it's worth it.
Right.
To do the work to make it operational and maintain it, That's my guess. I'm curious if any of our chatters went to the park today. Maybe they saw it. But, yeah, Laughing Place covers that story, of course. Indiana Jones, it's a major, major attraction. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it's still there. And with the new movie out, I'd be surprised if they don't add something from the new movie. We'll see.
Yeah, we do have some comments relating to that. Everyone seems to be really excited about it coming back. Everyone wants to see videos of it. I did watch a video of it today. It looked great. Michael Park said, I thought the rotating track was undone when they made that previous round of projection changes. John said, watch the video today, it looks good, but apparently the bridge doesn't shake now.
Huh. Well, it's one of those things that video is not going to be able to do it justice.
Yeah.
You're going to have to ride it to see, you know.
Right.
So, yeah. But the other big news from the resort, and people can still comment on Indy if they want, but the other big news from the resort is the Toontown reopening. And MyShat.com does have the essential Disneyland Toontown guide, rides, food, shopping, and more. So they've got, everything you need to know. The Orange County Register did have a story called Disneyland Reopens Mickey's Toontown with a more welcoming, playful, and calming vibe. Oh. And of course, this was Brady McDonald's story, and it says, Mickey's Toontown should feel more welcoming, playful, and calming with less pavement, dead spaces, and cartoon intensity when the kid-centric themed land at the back of Disneyland returns after a year-long makeover. There's a quote, this whole job wasn't about tearing down Toontown and restarting, Walt Disney Imagineering's Jeff Shaver Moskowitz said. The whole job was about keeping what everybody loves about Toontown and making it better for the next generation. We tried to be careful about surgically taking what wasn't working for us and fixing that up and keeping and preserving and bettering what was there. So, as the story goes on to say, Imagineering wants the new Mickey's Toontown to be a place for kids ages 3 to 9 and their parents to blow off steam, chill out, and decompress after a busy day at Disneyland. The colors have been toned down, and the cartoon intensity has been turned down, or should we say tuned down. At first glance, Toontown feels largely unchanged. For the most part, everything is still in the same place. The ends of the land continue to be anchored by Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin and a kiddie roller coaster with Toontown City Hall, Donald's boat, and Mickey and Minnie's and Goofy's houses in between. But Imagineering has introduced plenty of new details, both obvious and subtle. For starters, the whole place has gotten a fresh coat of paint in what seems like the first time in 30 years. The entire land was once a swath of pavement. It's much greener thanks to more real trees and plenty of artificial grass. And everything seems more inviting and engaging, from the placemaking to the storytelling.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you notice how bright it was when you went there?
Well, the walls were still up.
No, but you could see the backdrop of it, right? And the entrance to the new attraction. Seemed like
I really didn't notice a change. I wasn't, if I had known that was part of the program, I probably would have paid closer attention.
Yeah.
I was too busy looking at my phone because you have to use the app. You have to use. We're got our boarding group, and I've got to get all 4 members of my party in there, and we got to use the phone.
Yeah.
And then when I'm inside the queue for Runaway Railway, I'm trying to use my phone to make other reservations, and the reception's not good back there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I noticed how bright it was, and it looked really nice. I did notice that they changed the music, like the area music, the background music, is different also, which makes sense.
It's all part of it. They're trying to change the sounds and everything. And let's see,
Yeah.
the story continues here. Toontown has been going through a phased reopening with the new Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway debuting in January and Engineer Souvenirs opening about a week ago. Curious visitors have gotten a peek at the fresh new look of Toontown as the facades were revealed for Toontown City Hall and Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, with the 1994 dark ride still closed until the full land returns. When the rest of the construction walls come down, Disneylanders will find a lot more green space designed for families who want to relax, hang out, and maybe even have a picnic. Good Boy Grocers will sell souvenir picnic baskets and blankets for families that want to feast on the artificial turf. I'm sure that's nice and inexpensive, right?
No.
One of the rare places Disneyland will let visitors stand or sit on the quote-unquote grass. Shade trees and green turf will welcome visitors across from the Roger Rabbit dark ride in front of Mickey and Minnie's house and the new Popcorn Park where Chippendale's Treehouse and Ball Pit once stood. So no walkway to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, notice,
Yeah.
Are people saying anything in the chat room?
I did notice the grass. It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
We had some comments. Michael Park said we need calming. And John said he heard the props are being stolen in the queue. Keith likes the idea of having a grassy spot in Toontown before it was all paved, like you said, and seemed hot back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep Christina said they keep breaking things. Can't keep their hands to themselves.
Yeah.
The grassy spot does look, Michael said, the grassy spot does look inviting, perhaps like the grassy hill Walt had there for Holidayland and the hill before Matterhorn went in. Just speculation.
Well, we'll see how it holds up,
John said, you would think Disney would design something that wouldn't be so easily destroyed, knowing the way people are nowadays.
Yeah.
How will sweepers keep the grass? How will sweepers clean the grass?
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring out vacuums.
Yeah, because if you get a big popcorn spill in that, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, another big change will be an evening lighting package, something Toontown lacked because the land used to close around dusk for fireworks. Imagineering has added Tivoli lights in front of Toontown City Hall and lanterns in the new Dreaming Tree play area. While Toontown will still close for fireworks, the land will reopen after the pyrotechnics show for visitors anxious to ride the new Runaway Railway or grab a late-night snack at Cafe Daisy. The Centennial Park fountain with Mickey holding Minnie aloft like a ballerina doubles as a kinetic centerpiece and interactive water play area. A 30-minute loop of water, light, and music effects will play throughout the day, with the fountain providing a goodnight kiss moment during nighttime shows for kids too tired to stick around for the Disneyland fireworks show. Goofy's house is still standing, but it now serves as the centerpiece of the new Goofy's How to Play yard. And inside Goofy's house is a Rube Goldberg-style contraption where kids get to sort candy by color and flavor. Outside is a sound garden with a musical bridge and stepping stones. In the backyard, kids can climb on and explore Fort Max. Donald's boat is still next door, but you can't go inside or up on the deck anymore because the ship is now flooding from the inside, in a fun twist from Imagineering. Donald's boat now serves as a water play area where kids can get soaked while playing bubble games and running through the water jets.
Oh boy.
How long is that going to last? It works in Florida, but Disneyland is a different story. What happens when they get soaked and they go ride Runaway Railway? Now those seats have to be dried. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. The former Gadgets Go coaster has a slightly new look, backstory, and name as Chippendale's Gadget Coaster. A larger-than-life chip shoots water through a giant straw over the coaster track into a cup held by Dale. Gadget, the quirky inventor mouse friend of the anthropomorphic chipmunks, easy for me to say, stands near the coaster lift hill. So, yeah, a lot of changes to Toontown.
a lot of changes, yeah.
For its 30th anniversary.
For some people hearing this, it will be open by the time you listen to this. If you listen to this on Monday,
Yeah.
but I'm excited. I'm glad that it's another area that's back open. When you have these rides like Indiana Jones back and Toontown back open, it's like the park is at its fullest capacity in some ways, not totally, but almost, which helps, especially with the new attraction, Mickey's Runaway Railway, and it just helps balance the park out. That's already too crowded, I think.
Well, if you think about the last few years, they added the Runaway Railway.
Mm-hmm.
They added Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance, but they did not.
Right.
They took away the ranch.
Uh-huh.
So, but overall, they're adding capacity. They've added capacity to the park, which is great. People can do more things. More people can do more things there. As usual, we're gonna have links to all these stories, by the way, at thesweepspot.com. It's in our current event show notes. Well, did you have anything from the chat room?
Well, John was saying that he was asking, does Roger Rabbit return soon, or has it been open? Roger Rabbit has not been open, and I assume that it will return when the rest of Toontown opens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It technically probably could have been open because you can get right up to the entrance as of now.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it has not been open yet. We also have Michael Park said, my kids always like getting soaked. They want to get dried before moving on. Great to have that sort of thing back.
It'll be interesting to see how long it lasts.
Yeah, Christine said maybe people with younger kids will stay back there longer. Yeah, that would be good.
That's true. We'll have to see.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's see. Orange County Register, again, has Disneyland rebuilds Mickey's Toontown from the ground up for kids with special needs. So Walt Disney Imagineering has designed the refreshed Mickey's Toontown, returning on Saturday, March 7th, or excuse me. Well, this is something interesting in the text of the story here. Sunday, March 17th, which Sunday is March 19th. March 17th is Friday.
Oh.
So I don't know what they meant there, but anyway, at the Anaheim theme park with an eye toward removing as many barriers to play as possible and creating experiences for kids with differing needs and abilities. Special needs kids with physical, developmental, behavioral, emotional, and sensory disorders and disabilities will find Mickey's Toontown a welcoming, playful, and calming place. As an aside, when Toontown first opened, they had a satellite office of first aid there.
Oh yeah.
If they didn't, they should have added like a wish lounge, which is Make-A-Wish kids,
Right.
They should have done that. I mean, especially if the family needs to leave, it's pretty easy to be evacuated from Toontown, but I don't know. That's just a thought I had. The curb-free Toontown will have wheelchair-accessible ramps and pathways where kids can kids can roll without obstacles and barriers. The Centennial Park fountain at the center of the land will have interactive play areas with water tables at lower heights for children's wheelchairs. The new Dreaming Tree, inspired by the place where Walt Disney daydreamed as a boy in his hometown of Marceline, Missouri, will have wheelchair pathways through a maze of sculpted, undulating routes. The Fort Max elevated play area will have a ramp so kids can reach the Overlook outpost. Nearby, a roller slide down an embankment hill will have a dedicated landing area where kids will have time to get back to their wheelchairs without pressure to get out of the way for the next slider. They have been making the resort more accessible. And that's great. It's great. You and I both know what it's like to visit with a family member using a scooter or a wheelchair. And they've been doing things to make it more accessible, and I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it sounds good. You're talking about a calming place. The old Toontown seemed like the total opposite of that.
Right. Very frenetic.
Very chaotic, noisy, loud, just crazy with kids running everywhere, screaming, yelling. Very opposite of the word calming. But hopefully that is true. And having worked up there 2 summers in a row, a day shift, it got pretty warm up there too. So I hope that all that has been changed. Yeah. Let's see if we have any comments. We have a couple here. Well, we have one. One new one. Christine said, proofreaders, a job that no longer exists.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the year or the date.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I want to see, of course we'll see it on Sunday. We'll see a lot of videos and pictures and things online. I'm excited to see all that and see it in person myself in a little while.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah.
Disneyland turns prop candy into real lollipops, chocolates, and sour chews as life imitates art. Disneyland is turning the fictional sweets and treats that make reference to Disney cartoon shorts, TV shows, and movies in the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway queue into real lollipops, chocolate, and sour candies that visitors can buy and eat. Life imitates art when Disneyland begins selling Golly Pops, Scrooge McDuck's chocolate coins, and Power Limes sour candy chews on Sunday, March 19th at the new Engineer Souvenirs gift shop during the grand reopening of Mickey's Toontown. Disneyland's merchandising team turned the Runaway Railway prop candy into real treats sold in Toontown with plans to expand the line of El Capitan concessions. Imagineering has filled the fine print on the El Capitan candy wrappers with inside jokes and personal tributes to colleagues, with logos for mock candy makers like Bowling Alley Candy Company, Wowza Bowza Candy, Ben and Hudson's Candy Kitchen, E+A Schwartz Sweets, Luna Bell Treats, and Flower Street Treats. So, kind of reminds me of when Aladdin's Oasis opened way back 30 years ago, 1993. The dessert was a chocolate magic lamp, and it was filled with chocolate mousse, and I think it had chocolate syrup on it. But it was interesting that people were saying they should be sold, like sold in stores, maybe sold in supermarkets, whatever. But so this sounds kind of like that, where it's like, are they going to sell it in other places in the park? Maybe they'll sell it outside the park. Who knows? Of course, Laughing Place also covered that. Orange County Register had a story about where you could see inside the fireworks control room where Disneyland launches 50-foot flames from the castle. A new Secrets Revealed video. Oh, before I go further, let me know if people were commenting on the candy.
Well, yeah, Michael Park said a calming environment and then get the kids on sugar high.
That's right. Get them all pumped up on the sugar. Yeah.
Christine was asking, when do we get the Mickey-shaped popcorn?
Popcorn is evil. Yeah.
It is.
A new Secrets Revealed video posted by the official Disney Parks YouTube channel shows footage of the Wondrous Journeys control room and how Disneyland technicians prepare for the fireworks show. The new Wondrous Journeys offers glimpses of all 62 animated films as part of the Disney 100 Platinum celebration. The nighttime spectacular that debuted in January typically plays with fireworks on weekends and with only projections on weeknights. The behind-the-scenes tour, led by Disney Live Entertainment principal media designer Casey Wilkerson, starts in a backstage control room where a bank of 24 video screens lining an entire wall show every possible angle of Wondrous Journeys. During a typical show, three to four technicians work at desktop stations in the control room to monitor lighting, audio, video, and other special effects in real time as the show is occurring. So yeah. Reminds me of, I was in an office years ago. Remember the old Disneyland sign on Harbor Boulevard that had the it had the electronic message sign on it?
Yeah.
They had a camera pointed at that so you could make sure it was operating. So if you were in this office, you could look at this TV screen and it was just a video of that. So you could see like if something happened to it or somebody malfunctioning or somebody hacked it or whatever.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
But yeah. I know you've been waiting for this, Lynn. Tenaya Stone Spa introduces new sunrise yoga and spa treatments at the Disneyland Resort. So, yeah, if you want details on all of that, I'm sure, most of our listeners can afford that. It's, you can link through. So, they have stuff in Disneyland Park and California Adventure. There's something called Citrus Grove's Face and Body Treatment. There's the Ultimate Scalp and Foot Massage. There's the California Artisanal Poultice Massage, Hydrofacial. These are things I'm sure you.
What'd you call it?
Hydrofacial.
No, the other one.
The one before that, California Artisanal Poultice Massage.
Oh, I thought you said polka massage.
Polka.
Wow.
That's me trying to get a Weird Al reference in.
Oh, okay,
no,
okay.
It says here about that. It says the massage melts away muscle tension. I'm getting all choked up.
Yeah.
By combining pressure and heat from steamed compresses of wild herbs found throughout California and North America. Choose one of 4 different handcrafted blends of herbs made for Tenaya Stone Spa. Wow.
I like it.
Anything going on in the chat room I should know about?
Let's see.
By the way, folks, again, if you want to join in the chat room, go to our Patreon for the Sweep Spot and support the show, and you can join the chat room.
Not too much.
All right.
Keith said Weird Al next Saturday, Ken. All right.
Okay. Well, sad news. We had to get to it. Disney legend Raleigh Crump has passed away at the age of 93. And we have a special place for Raleigh here on this program. He did the foreword to our first book, Cleaning the Kingdom, Insider Tales of Keeping Walt Stream Spotless. That was very gracious of him. He's been on the show. So he's in our free archives.
Long time ago. And it was within the first year or two.
And we had his son on the show too.
We did, yeah.
So, but yes, there was a lot of coverage of this. The Orange County Register had stories. there was an appreciation from Brady McDonald about appreciation how the quote unquote worst artist Walt Disney ever hired shaped Disneyland forever. I mean, if you don't know, Tiki Room, Haunted Mansion, Small World, all heavily influenced by Raleigh Crump. Raleigh Crump also did he was involved with the original Berry Tales at Knott's Berry Farm, because he did work for more than just Disney. I think what happened is, he was really in with Walt, but after Walt died, Disney's not immune to the same things you find anywhere else as far as office politics and personality clashes and things like that. So I think, he basically left and started his own company and did some work doing some other stuff. We have links to several stories. Shelley wrote something up on Mice Chat. I first met Raleigh at the Disney Gallery. All roads lead back to the Disney Gallery, the one that was above Pirates of the Caribbean. As they should. I first met him there for a signing. I think I have that artwork hanging up in my hallway. And the person who was with me had the very same observation I did. At that time, he looked both old and young at the same time. It was really uncanny. It's like he looks youthful, but he also looks old. And I just don't, I don't know how else to describe it, but that's what we both said. He left this is from Shelley's piece. Raleigh left to form his own studio in Newport Beach, but returned to Disney now and then, and even helped develop Walt Disney World's Epcot Center, including a design for it that never came to be. Eptot, an area of Epcot that would be dedicated for young children. He also worked on the Land Pavilion, which he said was the most Epcot because of the hydroponics and fish farming, things that are actually consumed there after being grown futuristically.
I was just looking it up. We had Rolly Crump on our show. It's episode 57. And there's a really good book out. It's called It's Kind of a Cute Story. And you had mentioned that Rolly also wrote the foreword for our book, or one of our books. He also, as I'm looking here on the wall, he was very kind enough. I found a photo of my mom and dad, who are passed away now, and Dad's been gone for a long time, but they're young, youthful, and they're standing in front of It's a Small World. It was probably taken, I'm guessing, in the late 60s. And anyways, because Rolly Crump was very instrumental in that facade for a Small World, I sent him the picture. It's a big, I had it blown up 8.5 by 11, and he was kind enough to sign it and wrote a little note on it. It was very nice and mailed it back to me. So, just a very nice man, and he definitely will be missed.
Yeah, he was 93 years old. But really had a huge impact, A lot of these people, could have been big on their own.
Right.
But they ended up in the Disney company, and, it boosted Walt Disney. And I mean, you just go through some of the things that he was involved with, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I guess now since I mentioned, Disney Gallery and all that stuff, I'll mention a few different recent passings that have kind of weighed on my heart. Also very recently, Valerie Stewart, who the daughter of Nick Stewart. Nick Stewart was the voice of Brer Bear. And I had met them years ago when he was still alive. But even after he passed, she kept his legacy alive. She kept her father's legacy alive. She was I don't want to get into the weeds here, but she was kind of hoping to preserve Splash Mountain. They had something called the Ebony Showcase Theater. They were just very supportive of the arts, Valerie and her father. And I met her, and I was still in contact with her until recently. So she has passed, which is very sad. But a few other people that, to me, were connected to the gallery as well. Michelle Ellis was one of the great cast members that worked in the gallery. She passed away, I think, on January 1st. I've known her just, as a guest and a cast member hanging around up there. I knew her, and then kind of outside of the resort a little bit. She had, after the gallery closed, she went into guest relations. And then she ended up retiring the park because she ended up having an illness, and the illness eventually claimed her beginning of the year. But too young to go. And somebody else that we lost in January was David W. Smith. Now, not the guy who published our first book originally. Not the Disney archivist. David W. Smith was a sculptor who actually had works that were up in the Disney gallery. He sculpted a thing for the Hitchhiking Ghosts. He also sculpted the old hag from Snow White, and they sold that up there. He was involved in the makeup for Alien Encounter, which did run at Walt Disney World in their Tomorrowland. He was a sculptor and a special effects makeup guy. For a lot of times in a lot of the movies he worked on, the best thing about the movie was his special effects. But he was in some very prominent good movies too. Very talented guy. I was friends with him outside of the park. Like I first became friends with him because we would bump into each other at the park as guests, and that's how we became friends. And we became friends outside of the park. He had a lot of different health issues and ended up passing away later in January. Just very sad to see him go. You've seen his movie work, whether you know it or not. You've seen his movie work. And finally, someone else that kind of tied me to the Disney Gallery. I wrote about him in the first book, Dave Lehrman, who I met one night. He, at the time, his roommate and friend Doug Beatty had muscular dystrophy. They were kind of a comedy duo that would tour with Sam Kinison. Dave Lehrman ended up working after Doug passed away. He ended up working at El Capitan, and Dave. You've seen Dave's work too, whether you know it or not, because he's appeared. He's appeared on so many different television shows. Quote unquote reality shows, not always so much reality. And knowing Dave really drove that home for me because he played different characters on different shows. You never knew if he was telling the truth about his stories, because sometimes he would just be playing a character. But for the last couple of years, he claimed to be on death's door. He finally, he stopped responding. We kept in touch on social media, and finally his updates stopped. And one of his friends found out that he had actually passed away. But another guy. All these people were too young. Michelle and David and Dave Lehrman. Pardon me. All too young to go, and all connected to the gallery somehow. So that just shows to show you that. Special places at Disneyland can have a lasting impact on you. Yeah. And, sorry to bring, I don't mean to bring people down or whatever, but, that's part of life. And we'll remember these people and carry on with the things that they left with us. But anyway, I wanted to get into some happy news. Okay. Bruce Vaughn returns to Walt Disney Imagineering as Chief Creative Officer. And Bruce had left Imagineering several years back. So this is curious. We'll have a link to the Disney blog story about it, and also the one at Mice Chat. He originally left in 2016 to pursue other opportunities, including stints at Dreamscape Immersive, most recently at Airbnb, where he developed and led the experiential creative products team. So he's being brought back to Imagineering, which is a signal that they think something might have been lacking, might have gone off track. I mean, there's a lot of people, including people we've had on this program, who have retired from Imagineering or left Imagineering, and they're still, they can still do good work.
Yeah.
And they're out there doing projects at other places or whatever. Right. And it's really a shame. I understand that's, businesses lose people because for whatever reason, the people, personality clashes, or people just want to go see what's out there, whatever. But in some cases, it's like, hey, bring them back, bring these people back if you can. So Shelley wrote the MiceChat.com story, and it's headlined with "Good news: Bruce Vaughn returning to Imagineering." So he's going to be, he's going to be up there towards the top, working with Barbara Buza, so he's going to be Chief Creative Officer along Buza as President. But Bruce, in case you don't know, Bruce worked on Tokyo Disney Sea. He was part of the team that redesigned DCA.
Oh, okay.
Worked on Star Tours Adventures Continue. And, so as he says here in his quote, he says, "I've remained an Imagineer at heart, so I'm thrilled to join Barbara and reunite with this phenomenal global team of creators and innovators during this pivotal time." So Lynn, maybe they need to bring back some people at the parks too. Like maybe you should go back.
No. That's good news, though.
Bob Iger comes back. Bruce comes back. How about you?
Well, what about? I think it's a good sign for future projects that have been kind of questionable. Lack of maybe. There has been a whole lot of things. There hasn't been any new attractions announced, and there's several reasons for that. But maybe this is an indication that something's coming soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what shakes out from this, but it's just highly interesting when they bring somebody back. They brought it was big news when they brought back Bob Iger. I mean, of course, CEO. That's the top of the food chain. But when you do it with a division like Imagineering, it's also highly interesting. What does it mean? So we'll have to see. Anything in the chat rooms about it? About anything lately?
They have their own conversation going on, which is great, about stuff that we weren't even talking about. But it's Disneyland related. So right now they have a discussion about Avatar. I mentioned that in past news. Avatar experience, and they're just chatting about different areas. So, you could join in on this fun. Looks like they're having a good time. So if you want to become a Patreon, and we do this once a month, and if all working well, everyone has a good time.
All right. I do want to apologize that I am under the weather, so I can't always hit the mute button when I'd like to. But anyway, as usual, MiceChat.com does have some Disneyland updates. There was Disneyland Update, Exciting Finds, Feasts, and Oswald Meets. And that was Dusty Sage on March 6th. And there's also Disneyland Update, the 1-2 Punch, and that was Dusty Sage from March 13th. So that he says on that one, wait for it. That seems to be the mantra for Disney fans. Wait for big announcements. Wait for those things to finally happen, or often not happen. But this week we've got some really good news on a couple of fronts that should help shape a better creative future for the Disney company and for Disneyland in particular. And we hopefully won't have to wait for it too long. Today we'll take a look at big changes ahead, new creative leadership, Bob's pricing paradox, the opening of a new store, the reopening of a major land, and updates on the construction boom. All this and a slew of beautiful rainy day photos. So again, go to thesweepspot.com. You will find our show notes there. You can click through and read everything for yourself. But I wanted to get, Lynn, what's going on with renovations?
Well, last time we spoke of refurbs and renovations, we had no return date for Indy. And as we've spoken already, Indy is back. So that's good news, and that's the first thing I wanted to lead off with. The next thing is Adventureland Treehouse, still down. No opening date for that yet. I've heard from some sources that it could be next year sometime, the end of this year. So it could be a while. Silly Symphony Swings, no return date up through the calendar that Disney has out. The Disneyland Monorail, March 20th, it'll be down, and be back on March 24th. So just a few days there. Big Thunder Mountain, April 3rd, and we'll be back on April 14th. It's probably a good thing. I don't know the reason why. We were at Disneyland, and we'll talk about my trip on our bonus episode. But Big Thunder Mountain was closed most of the day. I'd say probably like 90% of the day it was closed on Wednesday. For some reason, I don't know what. It seemed like it came up. I go, oh, good, it's back up. Or I'd see it on the app or see it in person. And then it would be down again like 30 minutes later. So I don't know what was going on with it. It was not the day that it was raining a lot. That was on Tuesday. But anyhow, it looks like it's scheduled to go down April 3rd and be back on the 14th, which is probably sounds like maybe something it really needs. Dumbo is going to be down just for one day, April 10th. And then the last thing we have Matterhorn is going to be down from April 17th, and no return date yet. My assumption is it'll be back within a month or two before summer, definitely. So that's all I have.
Yeah, we went from, Indy, no return date to all of a sudden we have a return date. And that was quite interesting that they sprung that on us. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that concludes our current events, but wanted to thank everyone that joined us in the chat, and if you want to join them next time and become a Patreon with $5 or more per month, and you'll get one bonus episode delivered to you, and get to join in the chat as we record our current events once a month. We do it live once a month. We record them twice a month about. So thank you so much for listening, and check our website for the show notes and links for all the articles that Ken mentioned in our current events, and we'll talk with you next time.